Hello and welcome to this Calibrate session. Today I'll be running through some small things you can do in the classroom that have a big impact on student learning. It's hard to make sweeping changes, but easy to make a few little changes that can really add up. My goal is to get you thinking about how you teach and how you believe students learn. I want to get the ball rolling in hopes that it will inspire you to start making little changes and tweaks to perk up your instruction bit by bit. Making those small changes as you go will have a big impact on your practice over time and won't feel as overwhelming as trying to make big changes all at once. My goal is to move you along this line from routine action to reflective practice. When we're operating from routine action, we find ourselves doing what we've always done, usually because we don't know what else to do and we're just trying to make it through. When we consciously analyze what we do in the classroom and how that impacts student learning, that reflective practice helps us become more effective in our teaching. Let me put this in terms I know you'll understand. This is true now, and I think as we move toward the new curriculum, it becomes even more critical. One person each year, or one person teaching in a block in each course, cannot do it alone. We succeed as a college only if everyone is moving in the same direction. From one course to the next, and within a course, faculty need to adopt similar approaches so that students are not left in the lurch every time they face a new or different course instructor. Think about how the things you do in class impact how your students learn. Today I'll highlight some practices that you can incorporate into any course that support the durable, flexible learning we all want. And this isn't just me trying to sell you something. The research is out there. If you want students to learn to be deep thinkers, you have to teach them in a way that forces them to practice thinking and make them aware of their own learning and levels of understanding. Most of the information I'm presenting today draws primarily on works on metacognition and learning. So what is metacognition? In a nutshell, metacognition is usually defined as thinking about your thinking. Three key components are the ability to self-evaluate your own progress, your ability to plan for success, and also your ability to monitor how you're doing at any given moment. Here are some small changes you can make. Get students active and engaged right away. Be passionate about your subject and its relevance to their learning or career goals. Assign the syllabus as homework reading, or give a quiz over it, or make it a scavenger hunt, whatever. Just don't waste your first day of class going over it. Use that first day to connect your students and to get them excited about your course or subject. Get students curious about what they will be doing in your course. Set high expectations and stick to your guns. Make the first day of class as realistic as possible to how it will be all semester long. Show students how your course works. Don't just tell them. Get them involved in doing something right away. Explain to them why you teach the way you do. If you ask students to do something, plan how will you check that they've actually done it. Help students understand the relevance of your course content and how it applies to their goals. Help them develop this perspective. Keep reminding them, you have to know this and here's why, and you have to be right and here's why. Keep the focus on the understanding and the abilities that they should be developing and not just the course grade. Always be aware of your own expert blind spots. Students do not have the content knowledge that you have, and they also don't always understand the context. How does this course fit in? How does this course help me reach my goals? What looks simple and straightforward to you may be an absolute mystery to your students. You have the luxury of content and context knowledge. Like a chess player, you can make leaps and jumps in your thinking that your students just can't do yet. Along with setting high expectations, and I've already heard your fears. What if I assign something and they don't read it? First off, try selling your readings and your videos. Don't just assign them, but try to intrigue your students in some ways to motivate them to do the reading or to do the viewing. Give them a purpose for the reading or the viewing. Give them questions to answer or a task to do. Help them figure out what's important that they should be pulling out from that reading or from that video. When students give an opinion in class, have them support their ideas, either from the reading or from the video. Have them pull points out of what it is they were expected to do. Where did that information come from? Why do you think what you think? And ask students to elaborate. Sometimes students have the right answer, maybe intuitively it feels right, or they've heard someone else say it, or they've read it somewhere, but they don't really understand why it's correct. Asking them to elaborate is a way to get them to think about what they already know and why they believe what they believe. Another high-impact practice is to be transparent. Have you ever explained something or assigned something and then turned around and had a student tell you, "I don't know what you want," or "I wasn't sure what to do," or the dreaded, "Just tell me what you want"? Why do you think that was? Students aren't teachers. They're not thinking about your course the way you are thinking about your course. They have not planned it from soup to nuts. They don't always understand how A relates to B relates to C. Telling students exactly what you expect them to do, giving them a task, and here's what it is you need to do. Setting a purpose, here's why you need to do it. And then finally, here's how it will be judged, can help students see what it is they need to do and why. By being transparent, you can explicitly help students make the connection between what you're asking them to do and their learning, and ultimately what they hope to do once they've earned their degree. Transparency does two things. It increases learning by making the process and the expectations more visible to students. It also helps make clear to students why they are doing something and why it must be done before they enter class, which can make it easier to convince them to do those pre-readings and pre-viewing activities. It may also limit some of the resistance to new activities and active learning in general, because it helps answer the "why are we doing this" question. This is an awesome book, full of strategies, of little things that we can do in the classroom to help students move toward taking ownership of their own learning process. I love this quote: "Learning is about one's relationship with oneself and one's ability to exert the effort, self-control, and critical self-assessment necessary to achieve the best possible results." And about overcoming risk aversion, failure, distractions, and sheer laziness in pursuit of real achievement. This is self-regulated learning, and this is where we want our students to be. This book is available. You can just Google it. Most of it's online as a Google preview. It's also available as an ebook through UK libraries. It's worth checking out. A third high-impact practice is to be clear and organized. These things impact both student learning and how students feel about you and your course. In terms of organization, students respond well when class materials are well organized, teachers are well prepared for class, and use class time effectively. In terms of clarity, students appreciate it when teachers give clear explanations, make good use of examples and illustrations to explain difficult points, review and summarize material periodically, and interpret abstract ideas clearly. In terms of support, students appreciate it when the faculty are interested in them beyond the classroom and beyond this subject, and are willing to discuss issues with students outside of class. But the biggie here, and you may be surprised to learn this, is that classroom challenge and high faculty expectations are positively correlated to how students feel about your course. So asking challenging questions in class, applying concepts to actual problems, having students point out fallacies and argue their point of view, faculty challenging their ideas and having them support their point of view, and students challenging one another, all fell within this classroom challenge faculty expectation area. Will students grumble? Well, possibly. As a matter of fact, we may hear a lot of grumbling at first. But when these practices are the norm, less so. And here's why. We are poor judges of when we are learning well and when we are not. When the going is harder and slower and it doesn't feel productive, as learners, we're drawn to strategies that feel more fruitful, unaware that the gains from these strategies are often temporary. All four of these areas impact both student learning and student attitude toward the course and the professor. Think about these. Which is your greatest challenge? Set a goal to start making some small changes in that area to help you improve. When thinking about classroom challenge and faculty expectation, let's think about the kind of learning we want our students to do. I want to start by reading a quote from this Newble article. Students adopting a surface approach are predominantly motivated by a concern to complete the course or by a fear of failure. They intend to fulfill assessment requirements by the reproduction of factual material. Sound familiar? Know any students like that? I'll bet you do. In contrast, students adopting a deep approach are motivated by an interest in the subject matter and/or by its vocational relevance. Their intention is to reach an understanding. And I don't think anyone would argue with the fact that that is where we want our students to be. So how do we get them there? We design our assignments and our activities in a way that promotes deep learning. We do that by requiring them to integrate and synthesize, take new knowledge and combine it with what they know to build knowledge and create something new or apply that knowledge in a similar situation. If you really want students to master it, they need to encounter it more than once and in a variety of ways. We want them to get that 360 view of whatever it is that we're trying to get them to understand. Another behavior we need to get students engaged in is reflection. Again, this is part of that metacognitive piece. We've got to get students looking at how they learn and thinking about what they have done, where they are, where they want to be, and how they are going to get there. Deep learning requires hard work, but the learning is more durable and flexible than any surface learning gained from memorization. In order to get to this deeper learning, we have to get students thinking about their learning. We need to give them strategies to analyze and plan for their own learning so that they can assume control over their learning. We want to move them from memorizing to learning. Getting students to think about how they learn and what motivates them to learn can help them cultivate a growth mindset. I'd like to end by inviting you to come to my LEAP workshops this spring. I'm offering each one twice, and you'll also have access to the online modules in Canvas. You can do some in person and some online, whatever works for you. My goal is to break the process down and make it more manageable for you. I promise they'll be as informative and painless as possible. So please keep an eye on your email for those reminders. Thank you for your attention.